gradually it has become clear to me that true feminine energy and the true feminine spirit is going to be the healer of the world. However, I don't feel the true feminine spirit around like 95+% of women out there. At the gym this morning, there's a woman who reasonably attractive. She smiled at me and she waved. I didn't really feel anything. She was reasonably attractive, of course, but the only reason that I would get with her is because of lustful reasons. And I don't really feel like lust is even something that's fun anymore. So it hasn't been that way for a long time. And so it's not that I'm like emotionally numb to these women. It's just that it seems to me as though women are going to have to step up their game. If they really want female power, then they're going to have to demonstrate some femininity in their essence. Otherwise, it's going to be, well, most men are probably going to start to feel what I feel, which is nothing toward them. And they're going to be walking away from these women, rather, toward them. But we don't necessarily want this. And especially as someone who is integrating the collective contents of the unconscious and has integrated their anima, I do relate to the opposite gender really well. And obviously they relate well to me, because otherwise I wouldn't have women smiling at me and waving at me or trying to get my attention if they didn't want to talk to me or want to be around me. And I'm not saying this to flex, I'm simply saying this as a matter of experience, and this is exactly what's going on in my experience. And so it's rare for me to feel something around women nowadays, because although I can see, as the witness, I can see their godliness and their essence as far as they are the form that is expressing itself in the spirit of the time, I see who they are, and I see what they are, and I see why they are the way that they are. And I don't wish them ill will. I wish them blessings, actually, but I also know that I don't want to be around a woman who has not integrated herself with herself. Because many of these women out here, they have a lot of different things, and yet they have not themselves. And so women are more solipsistic, of course, as well, but they do have more practicalities and practical ways of reasoning when it comes to living life and being in relationships. Like, women are they're very smart when it comes to knowing how to psychologically have leverage. And they're also very interested in being perceived a certain way to get what they want. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think that's an evil quality of women. In fact, that's a trait that I learned from them. I learned how to do that in regard to my relationships with women. I wouldn't be who I am without knowing how women operate. And I wouldn't be who I am without operating in similar ways that women do, because I know how to do this. I know that women, they have this affinity for not necessarily deception, but they have this affinity toward the theatrical, that which is theatrical. And they have this affinity towards the theatrical because they want to be sensationally involved. Like, the woman's whole body and the woman's whole essence, when she's not like fully in her femininity and she's capable of being a healer and as well as a mother, right? Like, for example, I never thought I would say this, but Hilary Duff has become a very interesting example of like a cool mom, right? She's a cool mom, and she's a relatively feminine woman, it seems like. Now, I don't necessarily think that this is, I'm not saying she's someone to worship or someone to really like look up to, but I'm not necessarily saying that she's not someone to look up to either. But she is definitely not someone to worship. Nobody's worth worshiping, not even me, because I don't want you to worship me. I don't want you to worship. That's a whole nother conversation. But the point is that a lot of these women, though, they want you to worship them, and they feel like because they are erotic, because their whole body is erotic, that they feel like you should worship them. And it's like, well, I can recognize your eroticness and your ecstasy without being engulfed by it. And it's almost as if women like that and they enjoy that, but they also hate that that's where you're at if you're a mature man. If you're a mature, godly bad boy who is capable of seeing through these types of things going on with the women, it's almost as if they can't stand it, they can't stand it, and yet they love it at the same time. And so we as godly bad boys must recognize and understand that women like this are who they have a fragrance to them. Like these high level beings that are in the form of a woman, they have a fragrance to them, right? They have this fragrance of like honey. And if you know, right? It's like honey and strawberries. Whereas the low-level women who are low-level, they have this fragrance of like literal filth. And there's like a stench that is not erotic in any way, shape, and form, even if they look erotic on the outside. It's like they like, have you ever noticed that where these spiritual beings, like, because we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, but it's almost as if you experience the fragrance of the woman differently depending on her level of integration within herself and her own individuation process. Because if she hasn't integrated her animus, she's going to have like a stench to her, right? Like it's not a really good stench at all. It's not like the honey and strawberries. Whereas the women who have integrated their animus, absolutely, they have this fragrance to them, and they even have this slight glow to them, and they have this essence of moving so fluidity, like in such fluidity, that they can simply just be the receptors and multiply what's going on in a positive way, rather than just take from people and just take attention. They're not addicted to attention. And Hilary Duff reminds me of a woman who's more or less integrated a lot of her animus. I mean, at least on the grand scale and grand scheme of things, right? I mean, this is a celebrity that you can look to that's pretty easily recognizable. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm using Hilary Duff as the example here. And Lana Del Rey is another woman who I wouldn't say she's fully integrated her animus. I don't know enough about her. I haven't studied enough, but I've listened to enough of her music to say that she is almost the expression of the anima herself. Like she's an anima projection for a lot of men out there. And I mean, her ethereal voice and her ethereal qualities of her. See, this is the type of stuff that I really like about the feminine spirit. But I don't get that around most women. And I'm very positive that most men don't feel something other than lust around most women either. Because when a woman can only activate lust and eroticism and ecstasy around you, she's kind of boring. Like, she's exciting, for the moment, but it's very fleeting. And it makes you feel more empty afterward because she's only there to take from you. Whereas a woman with her femininity, like, integrated, and she's one with herself, there's definitely this fragrance of strawberries and honey. I don't know how else to describe it. That's really what it is. And I wanted to talk about this because I think that it's important that we recognize the positive traits as much as, like, why this is happening. Like, there's a situation, I don't really feel things around most women, okay? Well, why is that? And how can we learn from the positives as well as maybe the negatives, even though positives and negatives don't really exist. But we can learn these things so that we can see the polarity in them and the duality in them so that we can transcend that duality and polarity. And that's really what I'm aiming to do with this video. So I really appreciate this divine timing that you shared with me. I hope everybody stays blessed. Check out the Regal Academy if you're wanting to join a group of like-minded individuals in which we go through different classes or just get together to have these deeper conversations about relevant topics. Or if you want to participate in the Godlike Mastery offer that I have, or the one-on-one sessions, reach out to me and fill out an application in the link in the description box below. Again, thank you for your time. I appreciate this divine timing with you. Stay blessed. Peace. Until next time.